In 2020, Whitney Franks found herself in a state of desperation. She was desperate for exclusivity. She wanted to be the only one in her cheating boyfriend's life. He had other plans, and Whitney didn't get what she wanted. As a result, Whitney went dark. She wanted to remove her rival off the way, so Whitney went on the dark web and hired a hitman. She wanted to take the other woman out, but Whitney herself was also the other woman. And what do I mean Whitney was also the other woman? Did she succeed in eliminating the rival? Did she get him all for herself? And was he worth it? Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel where we talk about real crimes and real people. This is Murder for Hire of Whitney Franks. Want to know what happened? Let's get started. In 2011, a young Whitney Franks at the age of 16 started working at Sports Direct in Midsummer Place, Milton Keynes in Buckinghamshire. In 2014, everything changed for Whitney. She met a man that would make her go to the extreme for his attention. Whitney met James Prest when he joined Sports Direct as a store manager. 2 years later, 2016, Whitney and James started an appropriate relationship. James had a partner and children, and he was also Whitney's boss. James had all the power. Whitney was playing a losing game. In 2017, the game changed. Another player was added. Ruth Rudna started working at Sports Direct, and what do you know? Ruth also started a relationship with James. One man in a position of power, two subordinates, and a love triangle where the two women were competing for a douchebag. There, I said it. Both women were aware James had a partner and children, but still, that didn't deter them from embroiling themselves in this entanglement. In 2020, the world was ravaged by COVID-19. Millions and millions of people went into lockdown. Allegedly, the lockdown had a negative effect on Whitney. She became isolated, and her jealousy took her to a very dark mental place. Whitney found out about the relationship between James and Ruth. She asked James to stop sleeping with Ruth, but James had a different plan. By August 2020, Whitney realized James was still seeing Ruth. On August 17, 2020, Whitney went to Sports Direct. She was upset, and when she was talking to James, she commented on the fact James was sneaking around at night and frolicking with Ruth at her house. August 18, Whitney sent James an email on which she talked about her family, her school life, and she also talked about taking her own life. But Whitney was looking for attention in the wrong place. On the same day, Whitney went to the dark web. Using a fake name, she put out an ad on a page which allegedly belonged to the Sinaloa cartel. The page offered services of murder, guns, and drugs. Whitney was trying to hire a hitman to eliminate Ruth, but her plans would be torn apart. A BBC journalist discovered two messages posted by Whitney to the Sinaloa cartel's page. The first post stated, "I'm looking for the murder of a woman. I have £1,000 and I'm willing to pay more. This woman has caused a lot of problems for myself and others." The second post was posted with a different name. Whitney posted Ruth's name, address, Facebook details, Twitter, so the hitman would know where to go when he arrived at Milton Keynes. The post also stated, "Murder needed. Please let me know if you can help with my budget in any way." On August 20th, 2020, Whitney set up a cryptocurrency account and bought £282.57 in Bitcoin. However, 3 days later, she withdrew the funds. Maybe reality was sinking in, and Whitney had realized the severity of her actions. Whitney sent another email to James. She was desperate. She begged, "I can give you the world. I truly mean it. More than I ever had in the last 5 years. Give me the chance to prove it to you. I have been thinking a lot this week, reminiscing a bit. I apologize in advance if I'm a bit rambling." At the time, Whitney didn't know the BBC journalist who had discovered her murder for hire post tipped off the police. After being notified, the police met with Ruth and told her about the posts. Ruth was in disbelief and told the police she had a hunch who had done it: Whitney Franks. Whitney, at the age of 25, was arrested in September 2020, and she was charged with soliciting a murder. Whitney denied the charges. She admitted to looking at the dark web. However, she stated she believed the page was fake and she knew the victim wasn't in danger. During investigation, authorities seized Whitney's mobile phone and iPad. They found evidence Whitney had downloaded browsers to access the dark web. Fast forward 2022, during trial, the defense stated Whitney was being scammed, so nothing was going to happen. She hadn't done nothing to put the plan into action. She knew the page was a scam, and she just posted because she was intrigued. The defense also stated since Whitney had got her Bitcoin back, she had stopped the plot. She only made the request. The Crown described Whitney as deeply jealous. This was a case of jealousy and deceit. Whitney and Ruth didn't speak to each other, didn't talk about each other. So Whitney was actually following James. When the relationship fizzled, she asked him for another chance. But Whitney took things too far. Regarding James, he was accused of playing the two women against each other. He would leave at night while his partner and children were in bed and went to Ruth's home. Whitney Franks was found guilty of soliciting a murder. During sentencing, the judge stated the case was unusual and sad. The judge also believed Whitney was naive and hadn't really sunk in what she was actually doing. Whitney Franks was crying when the judge sentenced her to 12 years in prison, and she would have to serve at least 8 years before being eligible for parole. So a question remains.